From the NIRSA Championship Studios in Tallahassee, Florida, I'm David Peters, and welcome in to the 2025 preview show for the Tennis on Campus National Championship. We look forward to welcoming 64 teams and over 600 participants to Rome, Georgia in just a couple of days. And in today's show, we're going to walk you through the things you need to know, plus talk about the pools. You also know who you'll play on Pool Play Thursday. That's all coming up in today's 2025 preview show. Joining me behind the scenes today, Josh Bramlett from USTA, also Nicole Jackson, Brooke Turner, Antonio Gonzalez, all from NIRSA and the NIRSA Championship Series. We're all part of the tournament staff. We'll see you later this week, where they're going to be answering questions behind the scenes. So if you're just joining us live, you can use the Q&A feature through Zoom and ask some questions, and they'll try to respond to you. And then we'll bring them on at the end and correct anything I've said wrong, and also bring forward some answers to maybe some common questions that have happened during today's show. But let's get started. Let's talk first about the schedule for this week. 4 days, arrival Wednesday, not much going on except for team check-in. We'll talk you through that coming up in just a bit, but it happens between 5 and 7 at the Rome Tennis Center. Pool play gets started at 8 a.m. on Thursday, and it is 12 hours of pool play. But in between your pool play matches, we'll also have team photos. We'll talk about how captains will register for a time for their team to get those pictures taken. That'll be available later tonight on our link tree. On Friday, it's Tournament Friday. The matches get started at 8 a.m. and all of our brackets, gold, silver, bronze, and copper, as all of our teams advance into tournament play. And it winds down with Championship Saturday. The championship match in our gold division for the national title is at 5 p.m. Eastern time. But before that, we've got plenty of other matches, as all teams will play on Saturday. And there's a player barbecue. We've got the rock, paper, scissors finals. There's a lot going on. So a big week ahead in Rome. That's a rundown quickly of the days ahead. Well, let's just dive right into some of our top seeds for this tournament. And here they are: Arizona State, Baylor, Cal Berkeley, Colorado, Cornell, Dartmouth, Georgia Tech, Illinois, Miami, Minnesota, Penn, Southern Cal, UC San Diego, Virginia, Washington, and WashU St. Louis. You'll note out of these 16, they're all of our sectional champions. Got the 1 seeds, or the top 16 seeds, plus, because we have 15 sections here, one of the winners of the invites in the fall, the other winner of the invite in the fall, became the number 2 seed. We'll talk about that coming up in a bit. All of these teams, however, just so you know, are in different pools, so none of these teams will play each other during pool play on Thursday. Rest assured of that. We'll talk more about pools coming up, but we also want to welcome some new teams to this year's tournament. For the first time ever, these 5 schools are making an appearance at the Nationals: Buffalo, Grand Canyon, Grand Valley State, New Hampshire, and Santa Clara. Welcome. It's our 25th year of TOC competition. We're glad to have you here in year 25 at the National Tournament. And welcome back to a couple of key teams from last year. You just saw them in some of our top 16 teams. Yes, they're back. Our returning champion is Cal Berkeley. They defeated Southern Cal in last year's finals, an all-California final. We'll see if that happens again coming up this year. All right, let's talk a little bit more about how you can be prepared for this week. On arrival Wednesday, team check-in at the tournament will happen at the Rome Tennis Center, as I mentioned, between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern time. Just one representative needs to stop by, and you can do that during those 2 hours. If you're not going to make it, if you already know that your travel plans won't get you to Rome by 7, or if you just get held up, whether that is just late flights or just traffic, there's some information in the team captain's email that you can email or send a text to Nicole Jackson on our team. Just let us know you won't be there. We have some alternate ways to check in on Thursday. There is no captain's meeting because we're doing that now, so it's just check-in on Wednesday. Roster review will happen. We'll take a look at those player certification forms, so the things you've already scanned. You'll bring a physical copy with you. And we'll, again, with your roster, just make sure that those folks you said were coming are there. If anybody has dropped off the list, we'll mark them off at that time. We also have some player gifts for everyone at check-in. Again, you can do that 5 to 7 Eastern time at the Rome Tennis Center. Now, if you get there and want to bring the whole team, practice courts are available. They are available for reservation until 9 p.m. when the facility closes that night. There's information in the player guide about how you can call ahead starting on Tuesday to get a time for Wednesday afternoon if you'd like to have some court time to get some practice in before things start on Thursday. The Rome Tennis Center is a great facility, 50 outdoor courts. It's got some indoor courts as well, just in case we have some rain. Not enough for everybody, but a place we can go just in case we need to finish up, for example, on an evening. It also has plenty of places to get water and ice and restrooms. And we have the clubhouse. For those of you who have been to the Rome Tennis Center before, the clubhouse right there next to the parking lot has all of those things. Also want to make note that near our North Pavilion, where the indoor courts are the same thing. So if it's too crowded at the clubhouse, head on up to the other place on site at the north side of the facility for restrooms, water, and ice. We advise those of you coming in the morning to fill up with ice before you get there. There's only so much ice we have on site, so if you can do that at wherever you might be staying in town, that would also be recommended. For all of our players, for our spectators, for anyone associated with tennis on campus, no alcohol, no smoking, no vaping, no drugs, no smokeless tobacco, any of that. That is all prohibited as part of our tournament at the Rome Tennis Center. We thank you for your cooperation on that. We have a few chairs at the facility. We have plenty of bleachers. So around all of our courts, there's a place for people to sit. Again, fans can bring a tailgate chair if they would so desire, but there are seats. We just ask for those chairs that are actually at the facility already. There are some up at the clubhouse, for example, to not move those chairs. Use what's already out there near the courts. The clubhouse has a number of services. You can get rackets restrung, for example. They have some snacks as well. And this year, unlike last year, we have a food truck available on site on Thursday and Friday to get some food. If you've been to Rome before, came last year and have some suggestions to share with other teams, you can put those in the chat or in the Q&A right now, and we'll try to put those together and send those out to teams as well for folks to get maybe a quick lunch or maybe go out for a team dinner. So if you have suggestions, previous attendees, now's your chance to drop those into our chat or our Q&A feature, either way. Last thing about the Road Tennis Center is where will you find our staff? Well, our tournament desk, as well as the athletic trainers, will be right out back on the patio area there. So right up at the clubhouse, you really just can't miss us. You'll walk right past us and get to just about every court, but that's where you'll come to check in, along with any questions. The brackets will be posted up there. Everything you need to know about the tournament, along with the help you might need from an athletic trainer, available on the patio there, just outside the clubhouse at the tennis center. All right, let's talk more about pool play on Thursday. Match check-in takes place at the tournament desk, and it takes place for every match. You'll want to have someone stop by. For 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. matches, your first match of the day, 30 minutes ahead. Just send someone up there to say, hello, we're here. Let's just know that you've made it to the facility on time, and you'll be ready to start your first match of the day. At 15 minutes prior to every match, that's when our captains come together. So a representative or the team captain for each team will get together, whoever you're playing, and you'll do rock, paper, scissors. That is the official coin toss of the Tennis on Campus Nationals. So work on that strategy as well, but we'll do rock, paper, scissors. Go ahead and do it. You don't have to wait for us to ask you. If you find the captain that you're playing against, go ahead and do rock, paper, scissors. Walk to the desk when you have a winner. Let us know who's won, and then you'll have the choice of home or away. That's kind of the key part there to rock, paper, scissors. We'll give you the score sheet at that time. When you're using that score sheet during the match, if you would put the starters, and don't forget to list the substitutes. We appreciate full names because our team will be inputting these into Serve Tennis for you to go be part of your profile in Serve Tennis. And we advise you to complete it during the match. Sometimes we just forget what the score is. We don't want to lose track. So as each set completes, if you would go ahead and write in those scores, that will help us keep track during the match every day throughout the weekend. Winners are responsible for bringing that score sheet back. You can bring the tennis balls we give you back too, or you can keep them. The one thing you should not do is leave either of those things on the court. So just make sure you take everything with you as you leave, and that'll help us keep things organized and moving forward throughout the tournament. Warm up. Well, I know tennis players like to warm up. Some of you will warm up for 4 hours before you play for 15 minutes. At least that's what we've learned. All right, it might be an exaggeration, but we have rules for warm up because we have 6 sets of matches on Thursday and 6 sets of matches on Friday, and we like to stay on time. And those of you who have that late match at the end of the day will appreciate that we are on time. And so for that reason, let's talk about warm up. Well, one, warm-up is only allowed on your assigned match courts. I told you there are a lot of courts at the facility. Some are reserved for other groups during our time there, but they're not open and available for anyone. So you can only warm up on the courts in which you are assigned to play a match. Don't go on anything else. Our staff will be there to escort you back to your area where you should be assigned. Now, on your assigned courts, you can jump out there as soon as the previous match is done. In fact, for those of you who have an 8 a.m. match, come on out and get an hour in. The facility typically opens around 7 a.m. to give you a good hour's worth. That's just unlimited warm-up time until that first serve at the time of your match at 8 o'clock. If later in the day, the previous match concludes half hour early, it gives you a half hour of warm-up time. That's great. But at 15 minutes prior to your match time, so we're at 10 a.m. match at 9:45, for example, if there's one of the courts open, because often the previous match is in mixed doubles and they're only in that one set, they only need one court at that time, then the next match may go out there and take over that court and start their warm-up. Note, we are trying to have that first serve at match time. So we want to be able to get in the warm-up that's needed. That's probably your doubles players at that time because they'll be playing the first matches in the set each time. So match time is first serve time for those doubles matches, so let's be on it. You get a minimum of 5 minutes, so if that last match is super late, we'll make sure you get 5 minutes. I recognize 5 minutes is not very long. It's a couple forehands, couple backhands, an overhead, a volley, and a few serves. Like, it's not much. So those of you who want to serve for 12 minutes, we're going to move you on. And between sets, it's the same. Just 5 minutes for a quick warm-up and getting going. And that's because, again, we're trying to stay on time all day long. So more information about warm-ups, because there is an entire book on how this works, along with other rule clarifications, are available on our Linktree site. It's Linktree/TOC Nationals. This also will have the court grid every day. It also has the brackets. It'll have the pool play results. It's got all kinds of links, as links to live streaming we'll talk about as well. Just bookmark this. Just put it on your home screen on your phone. This is a great resource all week long. It's already updated. You can see some information tonight, and we'll be adding to that throughout the week. So more information a little bit later. One other thing you'll see in the rule clarifications is player eligibility. We have pre-screened the roster so far this year for all 600 people that are coming. And we've looked for making sure that the enrollment is appropriate for number of classes, for example, you're taking on campus, or credits that former varsity athletes have been taken care of, along with ITF, ATP, and WTA participation, whether that's juniors or futures or whatever level that might be. The system is not perfect, but as we went through that, we identified teams that had a challenge with a restricted player or a prohibited player based on that flow chart that many of you have probably seen. And we tried to let those teams know, and they had a chance to appeal. The system is not perfect. And so if additional information comes to light during the tournament, we have a process for in-tournament protests. You'll see that information in that rule clarifications down towards the bottom. It's only available to team captains, and you can't protest everybody. There's a limit on who you can protest and when you have to get your protest in. So if you're interested in that, feel free to go look at that. But last year we had no problem. We did pre-screening last year. I think we did a pretty good job of making sure everyone was clear before they got to the tournament. All right, let's talk about match play as well. When you're in your matches, team personnel only are the ones that are allowed on court. So just players and 2 coaches. If you have spectators, I mentioned there's bleacher space. There's plenty of room for them, but they are not allowed within the fence on the courts. They should be out in the seating area for your particular match. We will have officials roaming around, and they'll be calling footfalls without warning. No warnings for anything else. The point penalty system is in effect. They will not call lines unless they are asked to. And if you need an official, if you just feel like something's a little strange in your match and you need someone to come over, if you'll just alert some of our roaming tournament staff, they'll be around the facility and they can find an official for you. Or you can also come up to the tournament desk and we will radio and get our officials to your court. So just know that they are there, but we don't have enough for every court. So we'll get them to those that might have some extra attention if needed. All right, it's time for some pools. Our first set of pools are the early pools brought to you by our tournament partner, Impact Team Tennis. Elaine Wingfield with ITT will be there on site to make sure we're running all of our matches according to the rules of ITT, just like you've been doing all year, but we have just make sure it's extra correct when we're at the Nationals. But let's get into some of those pools now so you can see who's playing. These are the early pools. They will play matches on Thursday, starting the earliest at 8 a.m. They'll play their second match at noon and their last match at 4. So it's an early start and an early finish. We're calling you the early pools. This is important as we go through some other things. In Pool A, the returning national champions are there. The Bears, the Golden Bears of Cal Berkeley are joined by the Cyclones of Iowa State, the Crimson from Harvard, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. In Pool B, it's Southern Cal. The Trojans are joined by the Lopes from Grand Canyon, the Tigers of Missouri, and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Pools A and B. In Pool C, it's Arizona State, the Sun Devils, the Golden Knights of UCF, the Badgers of Wisconsin, and it's the Stony Brook Seawolves making up Pool C. And in Pool D, it's the Hurricanes of Miami, the Rice Owls, the Stanford Cardinal, and the Wildcats of New Hampshire. In Pool E, Illinois, the Illini will take on the Hokies of Virginia Tech, the Tigers of Princeton, and the North Dakota State Bison. The Colorado Buffaloes will lead off Pool F. They're joined by the UC Davis Aggies, the Michigan Wolverines, and the Brown Bears. And our last pools here in the early section in Pool G, more Bears. It's the Baylor Bears. They're joined by the Yale Bulldogs, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Bulls from Buffalo. In Pool H, yet another set of Bears, this time from WashU St. Louis. They're joined by the Columbia Lions, the NC State Wolfpack, and the SMU Mustangs. That is Pool H. So let's take a look at all of those pools one more time from A through H. As a recap, the top seeds are Cal Berkeley, Southern Cal, Arizona State, Miami, Illinois, Colorado, Baylor, and WashU St. Louis. Again, all of these teams will play at 8 a.m. You've got the first match of the day on Thursday. Let's talk a little bit about that seeding. Sometimes we have questions before we get into our late pools, and we'll talk about a few more captains reminders before we get there. But we have a lot of questions about how this works. How do these seeds get picked? Who goes where? What pools look like? Well, here are some of the key components of those. Section finish certainly is very important, and our team, Antonio Gonzalez and Brooke Turner, have looked at all kinds of information, over 1,000 match results as part of what we've heard from our sections, as well as what's in Serve Tennis, not just your sectional tournaments, but if there's regular season in there, if there are other tournaments in there, all of that was part of this. But your sectional finish was a big part. Our champions are the number 1 seeds, as you heard earlier. Our runners-up are actually all the number 2 seeds. That's 15 in each. And again, our invite winners from the fall are split among the 1 and 2s. In those sections. Everyone else is a 3 or a 4 as we go through. We looked at your whole performance for the entire season, so not just in sectionals, but any other event, as I've mentioned, to try to figure out how to balance those. Not just the 1 seeds, but where you flow on the 1 to 16. There's 16 1s, so there's a top 1 seed, and there's a 16th 1 seed as well, just like there would be in NCAA basketball March Madness, right? We've also looked at historical information, including maybe how your team performed last year or how the section traditionally performs at this particular tournament. It helps us to weigh things as well. But we recognize we can't look too far back because club tennis changes frequently. And so you may have a whole new set of players this year or a very different team than you had last. We really can't go back too far. The bigger one here, and most important, you may not know it, is we're always looking to create new matchups at the national tournament. We want to make sure that you explore the tennis on campus community, have a chance to play people that you haven't played before. So you'll see that our sections are spread out across all the different areas. So we're trying our best to make sure that you don't play a section team in your pool. We also looked at who our returning teams played last year to try to offer you a new opportunity to play someone new this year. So again, once you have a new experience, play some new people. I think you'll see that as you go through the pools. For those of you who are returning, for new teams, just know that that's how some of these things shake out throughout the tournament. Brooke Turner and Antonio will be both at the facility this week. So if you have more questions, by all means, certainly ask them when you're on site. Now, when you come out of pool play into tournament play, well, sometimes there are ties. It's not perfect, and we can't have 3-0, 2-1, 1-2, 0 and 3, and everyone can go into their particular tournament bracket very easily. But often we have ties. Maybe two teams are 2-1, the other two teams are 1-2. In that case, with two-way ties, it's just head-to-head. Who beat the other one breaks the tie, and that's how that works. Pretty simple. When we have a three-way tie, though, it's a little bit more complicated. We use game winning percentage across all of your pool play matches. So not just the teams that were tied with each other, but all of the teams that you played in pool play are part of that. You can learn more about this and maybe some examples that'll help you understand. It's on our TOC LinkedIn channel. There's a link there for rule clarifications, and we have a breakdown of that. It hasn't changed from years past, but this is kind of the basic breakdown on how we break ties coming out of pool play into Tournament Friday, where we'll have 4 brackets. First place teams to gold, second place teams to silver, third place teams to the bronze bracket, fourth place teams to copper. As I mentioned, everyone makes it, and all teams receive 4 more matches in tournament play. So most of you will get 2 matches on Friday. Some will play 3 in the compass bracket. So winners and losers all go somewhere else. If you lose after the first tournament match, you just go somewhere else to play your second tournament match against another loser, and winners play winners. And we just keep dividing it out in that compass bracket. But just know you'll probably play 2 or 3 matches on Friday, and then you'll complete your set on Saturday. But everyone plays on Saturday. In fact, here's what the bracket looks like if you're on the winner's side of the bracket. And so you'll see here that Pool A will play Pool C in the first round, and this holds up for any bracket, gold, silver, bronze, or copper. E plays G, I plays K, and so forth. And the winners converge on the national championship. But as I mentioned, losers go into a different bracket. So this isn't it. We have plenty of other opportunities, but if you're going to keep winning, this is where this goes. The gold bracket final, first serve will be on Saturday at 5 o'clock. We hope you'll be there. It's the exclusive match at 5 o'clock. Everyone else will finish most likely by at least 4 p.m. that afternoon, including all the other brackets, and bracket finals are earlier in the day. National Championship Saturday, as I've mentioned, all teams will play on Saturday, either 1 or 2 matches. We hope to start at 9 a.m., so a bonus hour of sleep on Saturday. That National Championship, as I mentioned, is at 5 o'clock. It will be live streamed, but we will also have live streaming on other courts, select courts, throughout the weekend. And so we will label that on our court grid. You'll be able to see that on our link tree. So you want to let your friends and family who aren't in Rome know they might be able to see you through one of our streaming courts on Thursday or on Friday. And lastly, we're going to mention this now. You'll see it at the tournament as well, but we always like to have some ball persons helping us out at the final. Helps move that along a little bit faster. And so if you'd like to volunteer your team or just a couple of your team members, you can earn some free USTA swag for being a ball person in our championship match for the gold division. There is a player party too. We've got a big barbecue that afternoon. It's free for all team members. And in fact, I'm moving it up a half hour. It starts at 4 o'clock. We'll have food until 6 o'clock. So come on out an hour before that championship match starts. Get a plate of barbecue and enjoy. If you get there a little bit late, just show up when the championship match is starting at 5. Please know the food will still be there, but it's free and for our players. So come out to the player party before the national championship match. We will do the rock, paper, scissors championship again. It is the official coin toss of the TOC Nationals. And so 2 players from all the teams that are there can come on out. We'll do a quick championship on the championship court right after the double sets. Always fun. This thing's 4th year, maybe 5th year of our championship. And we'll also give out tournament awards during the championship match. We don't wait till the end for our bracket champions and some other awards for TOC, such as Club of the Year, Leader of the Year. Some of that will be dished out and awarded during that match when we have some set breaks. So lots going on at Championship Saturday. We hope you'll stick around for those matches. Sportsmanship matters all weekend long. We hope you're respectful to your opponents, respectful to game officials and staff, and respect the facilities as well. Not just the Rome Tennis Center, but where you are staying. Please remember that you're representing your club and your institution. Sportsmanship, very important to the USTA, and it is also to us. There's a championship series. And so bring your best behavior. We appreciate that and appreciate your cooperation. And in fact, if you see great sportsmanship, we'll vote for that. We'll have a place at our tournament desk where you can vote for a team that you have competed against for the Team Sportsmanship Award, which we will hand out during our championship on Saturday. All right, it's time for a few more pools. Let's go to the late section. This is by our tournament partner, the NIRSA Championship Series. Our late pools will start at 10 a.m. It's the first match, but you finish late as your second match is at 2 p.m. The last match on Thursday is at 6 p.m. And we'll begin with Pool I, and it starts with the Quakers of Penn, the Rams of Colorado State, the Bruins of UCLA, and the Emory Eagles make up Pool I. Late pools, Pool J starts with Dartmouth, that's the Big Green, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the Aztecs of San Diego State, and the Nittany Lions of Penn State. In Pool K, we'll begin it with the Huskies of Washington, the Florida Gators, the Houston Cougars, and the Grand Valley State Lakers. And in Pool L, Georgia Tech leads it off. The Yellow Jackets will battle the Bulldogs of Gonzaga. It's the Maryland Terrapins and the Denver Pioneers in Pool L. Pool M begins with Cornell, the Big Red, the Blue Devils of Duke, the Broncos of Santa Clara, and the Kansas Jayhawks make up Pool M. And the last four teams are coming up after these because we have 12 left. How about Pool N? It starts with the Golden Gophers of Minnesota, the Carnegie Mellon Tartans, the Texas Longhorns, and the Georgia Bulldogs. Pool O, as we're down to the final 8 now, and Pool O starts with the Tritons of the UC San Diego, the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, the Northwestern Wildcats, and the Northeastern Huskies. It's like we cause ourselves problems with a lot of North in there, but that is Pool O. And our final pool now is Pool P, and it leads off with the Cavaliers of Virginia, the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara, the Jumbos of Tufts, and the Indiana Hoosiers. That is Pool P. Let's take a look at the recap here for our late pools. Again, the pools that will start at 10 a.m. on Thursday, and they include Penn, Dartmouth, Washington, and Georgia Tech as top seeds. Also top seeds include Cornell, Minnesota, UC San Diego, and Virginia. Lots of information. The pools are out there now, but maybe there's some questions if you've asked them, along with some more information to come. We'll wrap it up, but first we're going to go to Josh Bramlett from the USTA. He's got a couple of things to share with you and also some answers to your questions. Josh?
Thanks, Dave. Very well said there. So really appreciate you for doing that. Hey, everyone. A couple just quick housekeeping things for me that I want to touch on, and then we'll pass it back over to Dave to wrap up. First off, we're trying to do a quick attendance in the chat. So if you're in this call, just open the chat and make sure that you've put your team name down there. We have a list of some teams right now that haven't mentioned they're here yet, so do that. Another thing is payments. There's just a handful of teams left, maybe 4 or 5 that we haven't got their payment from as of yesterday, so I didn't have a chance to really double check that today. So you might be one of those teams that went through the process of taking care of payment earlier today. I will double check that tomorrow, and you may or may not hear back from me. But sorry for any issues that we might have had with bad links and things like that. We've got that problem sorted. So if that was you, apologies, but we'll get you taken care of. So no worries there. Another couple things I want to hit on. We're Acing Autism. They're going to do an activation there to talk a little bit about their program and how your club can get involved in the community and start a Acing Autism program where you and the leaders on your team can really make an impact in that community and give them more access to your courts. So there's that, and then we are doing just the typical spin the wheel, come get a prize, answer a survey, activation too. We'll be doing that Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. and Saturday right now it'll be 10 to 1 p.m. We might extend that a little bit on Saturday, but right now it's 10 to 1. There is going to be a food truck in the parking lot at the facility on Thursday and Friday. I don't have times for that, but it could be a quick lunch option for you. So just keep that in mind. I think it's a taco truck, but I'll get confirmation on that. So Hopefully a quick option there. Weather too. There's a chance of rain on Thursday and Friday. It's low right now, but just asking for flexibility if our team needs to kind of take a few steps back, regroup, and determine who goes into the indoor courts. We do have access to the indoor courts, but there's only 6 of them, and we're playing at least on 32 courts outdoors. So what I ask is that nobody, as soon as it starts raining, nobody rush into the indoor facility. Rome Tennis Center, they have programming and other matches that might be using those courts already. And so we need to give them a little bit of time to finish what they're doing, finish their lessons, finish their matches. 30 to 45 minutes is really the time frame that they've given to us before we move inside. So just keep that in mind. If the doors are open, you can poke your head in there and look at what's going on. But please, everybody, do not rush to the indoor courts and hang out down there. And that Dave mentioned this already, but any court that you see that's kind of open, that's not a match court that we're using for the tournament, do not hop on those courts and just start hitting. Okay. We are going to have one court available with some mini nets on it where you can get out there and hit some red balls just for a quick warm up if you really want to. But your match courts are your warm up courts. Okay. So we have officials and staff. Not all of us will be wearing bright neon green t-shirts, but a few of us will. So just keep an eye out for that. What else? There's multiple bathrooms. So the main bathroom is up in the clubhouse, but that one gets quite crowded. So towards the bottom of the hill, right next to the indoor facility, there's additional bathrooms down there. So if you guys have a match towards that end of the campus, please go use those instead of coming all the way up to the clubhouse. It'll just disperse everybody a little bit more. Let's see what else. Scorecards. Dave mentioned this as well, but I just want to reiterate, please fill them out completely, first and last name, and make it legible. Because last year it was difficult to decode some handwriting. Okay, so we need that to be as legible as possible. Pick the person who has the best handwriting on your team to fill those out. We really appreciate it, and that will go a long way. And then last thing I just want to mention is just on the sportsmanship side of things. Y'all have played enough TOC tournaments to know the format. Everybody's right there on the side of the court. So just make good line calls, okay? You got a lot of eyes on you. Just don't cheat. If you get cheated against, be the bigger person, be the bigger team, be the bigger club, okay? Don't rile anybody up or even think about getting in other teams' faces. Just come find an official and we'll handle it, okay? So just wanted to mention that. We're keeping an eye out for it. All right. Any questions that have not been answered? I see Nicole answered some in the chat.
We had a question about how to reserve those practice courts. And then if you could talk a little bit about if we do have rain, the team's responsibilities for squeegeeing.
Yeah, sorry. I just got booted out and then it put me back in here, Brooke. So say those again.
They're asking how do the practice courts work on Wednesday? And then if you could touch on the responsibility of each team to squeegee a court if we do have rain.
Got it. Yeah. So 24 hours out, on Wednesday, you can call the front desk. The front desk number is in the player info guide. So call them. We have courts held for everybody, but we're trying to keep it to 1 to 2 courts max per team. Last year, we didn't have any kind of issue with court numbers. There was plenty of space for everybody. But please call the facility and book it through the front desk there. And then if it does rain, we have access to some equipment, Vaptors and things to help us dry courts. But we look towards all of you to help us dry courts because we're playing just on too many. So we need everyone to grab a squeegee. If we have towels, grab those, but you're responsible for drying your own courts. And we'll do our best to get you equipment. And if we're into a situation where we're perhaps tight on time, we might prioritize courts that are closest to finishing first so we can get them started so the next round can turn over. But yeah, that's that on squeegeeing courts. There is stringing on site. Off the top of my head, I can't remember how much it is. It might be 20, but I'll confirm. I'll confirm that and update the player guide if the player guide is wrong. Okay. Just if you have another question that pops up, just put it in chat. But right now I'll pass it back over to Dave to close us out.
Thanks very much, Josh. We'll take it to the finish line now. And I think Josh already mentioned a chance of rain, but if you were there last year, it was cool and windy in Rome. This year, not so much. You can probably leave the hoodies at home. Look at these high temperatures this week. Some of the warmest weather of the year in Georgia is happening this week. Temperatures in the 80s, approaching 90 degrees on Friday. We do have that chance of a shower. About 20%, 30% Friday and Saturday, but those have been going down this week, so that's good, but the temperature's been coming up. So the key thing here, hydrate, wear that sunscreen, be ready to go. Again, I mentioned already live streaming on select course. You can find out more on our court grid when it's posted later this week on our link tree. Also on our link tree tonight at 7 p.m., you can register for a team photo time. So just jump on there. Early pools have one set of times. Late pools have another. So don't forget which one you are. If you need an exam proctor, that information is available in the team captain's email. So if anyone on your team needs to take a test while they're at the tournament, we can help make that happen. And again, don't forget about practice times you can reserve starting tomorrow. More information again, captains, check that email, or the player guide has additional details. Hey, enjoy yourself, enjoy the competition, just have fun. We hope you'll enjoy the Tennis on Campus experience this week in our 25th edition of the TOC National Tournament. From Tallahassee and the NIRSA Championship Studios, I'm David Peters. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in a few days in Rome, Georgia. This is a production of NIRSA, Leaders in Collegiate Recreation, and the USTA.